Chapter 6, Store Stalking.
Gloria was making a list of items she needed to pick up from the store while looking through the pantry and refrigerator. She checked with her husband to see if he needed anything. He requested some strawberry soda, his favorite, which she had already added to the list. Because of their age, Gloria tried to keep healthy food and drinks in the household, regularly buying fresh fruits, vegetables, seafood, lean meat, and green tea. However, she believed it was important to indulge occasionally, so she obliged her husband with the soda. Since their children were adults and no longer living with them, the Butler household now consisted of just Gloria and her husband. Consequently, Gloria rarely bought groceries from the big box wholesale store, preferring the local food store for their needs. However, today, she decided to visit the wholesale store where her daughter worked. It was around 1:30 in the afternoon. She glanced at the return department but didn't see her daughter initially. Eventually, she spotted her daughter working with a customer and gave her a wave. Gloria lingered in the electronics department, which was near the return department, hoping to catch a moment with Zuri, but it was very busy. She then decided to purchase something from the clothing section of the store, choosing a large sweatshirt, an unusual choice for Gloria, as it was both too big and not her style. After going through the checkout line and getting her receipt, she immediately went to the return item line. Zuri noticed her mother's actions and felt a bit embarrassed, but Gloria didn't mind at all. As she waited for Zuri's line to open, Gloria let two customers go ahead of her. Once she was in Zuri's line, she began asking her daughter how she was doing. Zuri, maintaining a businesslike demeanor, asked for her mother's card and receipt while talking to her. Gloria hadn't seen her daughter in person since Tommy had been picking up Thado, and she wanted to assess how Zuri was feeling and looking, despite their periodic phone conversations. They managed to talk for about 5 minutes before Zuri, feeling the pressure of her job, needed her mom to leave. Gloria arranged a time for Zuri and her family to come over for dinner, while Zuri wanted to ensure that Dad would be home when Thado got off the bus. Gloria confirmed he would be. Zuri handed back her mother's store card with a smile, then shook her head slightly as Gloria walked away. Meanwhile, Harold took a break from watching the commentators reevaluate the recent basketball games. He went outside and walked up the driveway to retrieve the mail from the mailbox. He timed it perfectly to see Thado's school bus dropping off students at the corner across the street. He noticed the young bus driver talking to Thado, and after all the students had disembarked, the bus driver called out, "He made it on the bus." "I'm doing my route, and now I'm closing my door," in a sarcastic tone. Harold just smiled, gave the bus driver a thumbs up, and walked back to the house as Thado crossed the street and followed him home. As usual, Thado entered the house and made a beeline to the kitchen. To his surprise, there was no snack waiting for him on the kitchen island. He paused for a moment and then asked where Gigi was. Harold walked into the kitchen and informed Thado that his grandmother had gone to the store. He showed Thado where the bread was kept, pointed out the meat in the refrigerator for a sandwich, and located the condiments he would need. Pop told him he was old enough to make his own snack and placed a paper plate out for him to use. His grandfather also took his gaming device, promising to return it once his homework was completed. He placed the device in the kitchen's utility drawer, which was cluttered with random items like cords, candles, and scissors. Gigi insisted he clean it out at some point. Pop returned to his easy chair in the living room and changed the channel to the news. After eating the sandwich he had made himself, Thado joined him. The news was reporting a crime happening in a major city, and the culprits resembled the race of both Pop and Thado. Thado felt disappointed, as he often saw crime being committed by people of his race. He turned to Pop and asked him about it. Pop carefully considered the facts he wanted to share with his grandson. He thought about how the media is owned by people outside their race, and the long history of those people promoting negative stereotypes about their race. He reflected on how these media owners provide major platforms for gangster rappers who are violent, foul-mouthed, loud, and bold, creating representations that some might adopt for fame or money. He also noted that these same people who control the media aim to erase historical truths that would depict their own race as violent, greedy, and shallow. Ultimately, Pop Pop decided to simplify his message. All races commit crimes, but those who own the media only show what they want to control the narrative about others. Thado pondered his grandfather's words for a while. Then he looked at him and said, "That's messed up, Pop Pop, really messed up." Pop Pop nodded in agreement. Gigi had spent too much time stalking her daughter at work, nearly getting her into trouble. Despite considering waiting until tomorrow to buy groceries, she ultimately decided to go to the local store at the last minute to avoid wasting gas on another trip. She particularly needed to get the strawberry soda her husband was waiting for. As she searched for the items on her list, she complained about how the store had rearranged everything. She frequently bothered an employee who was trying to stock the shelves. When she finally reached the cash register, some of the prices on the items didn't match those advertised in the store flyer. Gigi insisted that the store honor the advertised prices. The price gouging and shrinkflation upset her. Although Gigi and her husband Harold were financially stable for the most part, they lived on a budget. She blamed corporations and CEOs for the high prices of everything. By the time Gigi arrived home, Tommy had already come to pick up Thado. Harold was growing concerned about his wife's whereabouts when he heard the garage door open. As she pulled in, he demonstratively looked at his watch. She shrugged, and he met her at the back of her hybrid SUV to help bring in the groceries. Fortunately, Harold had made dinner, so they put away the groceries and ate. Meanwhile, over at the townhouse, Tommy takes a shower while Zuri begins making dinner. On the stove, she has a pot of water boiling for macaroni. She decides this is a good opportunity to explain global warming to her son for his research project. She describes how the pot represents the earth, the heat from the stove represents the sun, and the lid she would put on represents greenhouse gases emitted from car exhaust and animals. As Tommy enters the kitchen, Zuri continues explaining that putting the lid on the pot causes the inside to become and remain hotter, similar to how the earth is getting warmer. Thado looks at his dad with a smirk and jokes that Pop Pop's gases are like the lid on the pot. Both recall the basketball game from a few days before and start clowning around. After a few minutes, Thado glanced at the pot lid, thought about Pop Pop's flatulence, wrinkled his nose, and decided it should be pizza night. Zuri was fine with the idea as well. They ordered and ate their pizza. Afterwards, they sat down in the family room and watched a little television. Soon, Thado went into his room while his parents stayed on the couch. Zuri looked at her husband's hair and offered to redo his braids. She gathered a brush, comb, and some moisturizer. He sat down on a pillow between her legs. She parted his beautiful, thick, coily hair in the middle and proceeded to put in several box braids. As she did his hair, she told him about her mother coming to her job. Tommy sympathized with his mother-in-law, wanting to see how Zuri was doing. Zuri informed him she agreed they would go over to her parents for dinner next week.
How do you feel about Gigi showing up at Zuri's job? In the comments below, let us know your thoughts. Please subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.